Have you ever been hangry? You know, where you're hungry and it makes you angry. Well, what I'm going to talk about in today's video promises to make the world, what should we call, fappier. Get it? It's like full and happier. Just stay tuned and I'll explain. Hi there guys, this is Chris Coney speaking and welcome to the latest episode of the Cryptoverse, your regular dose of news and commentary on Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies and blockchains. So any industry that has a middleman, right, in between the producer of value and the consumer of that value is ripe to be disrupted by a blockchain project. And this time it's going to be the grocery industry. And INS, in this case, are the disruptors. So INS, they intend to build the world's first global decentralized ecosystem connecting grocery manufacturers directly to consumers. Now, consumers is literal in this sense because we actually do consume the food. Now, in the grocery industry, you have, people making the food, the manufacturers, and you have people eating the food, the consumers, right? And there are currently actually a few steps in between that. So let's go over here to the How It Works section of the INS website. So here are the few steps in between that serve the purpose of, say, the consumers either discovering the food products, buying them, or getting them into their kitchen cupboards. Those are the sort of the purpose of the middlemen right now, right? The middlemen either help us like warehouse it or distribute it, or like the retailers in particular, they stock it and they sell it to us. But what that's all about is discovering the food products, helping us buy them, and then helping us actually get them, right? But every so often, you kind of have to look at these systems and look at this supply chain and ask if all the components are still necessary. Because if we can remove one or more of those components, then that's going to save time, it's going to save cost, and it's going to reduce complexity, right? All good things. However, another good thing, or another big problem rather, with the way that the grocery industry works now is that the big retailers, they control one of the most important parts of the process, which is the discovery part. I think that's one of the most important parts of the whole process. And by that I mean if Tesco, or for our American friends, Walmart, if they choose not to stock an item, right, the chances of you ever discovering it are very slim, right? And if you don't ever get exposure to the product in the first place, you have no way to choose it, right? If you never discover the food item, you're never giving the choice or the opportunity to buy it, like it, and become a long-term customer, right? So a huge amount of power in the food system is centralized at the point that the retailer resides. And really, this is the main point that INS wish to disrupt. And in the INS system, what they're proposing, the system they're proposing, they're projecting to save you and I, on average, 30% on our grocery bills by cutting out all these middlemen and then all the efficiencies that go with it. Not so bad, eh? So let's get right down to it. What's the INS token for exactly? Well, as a shopper, you'll receive INS tokens as part of, say, any loyalty programs that food manufacturers choose to run. And because INS they're taking away the retailers were previously taking care of marketing activity, marketing campaigns for the products that the manufacturers manufacture. And because INS are taking away that component, the retailer, well, INS then need to replace that with something, which they are doing with a suite of software-based marketing tools that will be built into the INS system. Now that means the INS platform, it will empower food manufacturers to take charge of their own marketing, right? And develop relationships directly with individual consumers, do personalization, do loyalty, do all of the great stuff, which was they were previously too far removed from their customers to be able to do that. And most of the money that food manufacturers were spending on marketing were to the retailers to try and get them to stock their stuff in the first place, because they're the gatekeepers, right? Not anymore. So INS tokens will be the currency used to pay for all these marketing activities on the platform. And they'll also be one of several currencies you'll be able to use to actually buy groceries with. Now that all bodes well for INS being considered a utility token rather than a security, because the INS token has a real utility value. Primarily, the value of the token, or the purpose of the token, is to do stuff on the network, right? Rather than just being a speculative asset that people intend to go up in value. And just by the way, as well as paying for groceries with the INS tokens, you'll also be able to pay with fiat currencies, buy your groceries with Bitcoin, buy your groceries with Ethereum, right? So massive new usage for crypto as a spendable currency coming right up. And just to be clear on all this, the INS token is the thing you're buying in the token sale, okay? So the next thing is, like, what are the chances of success for this whole thing, this INS thing? Well, conceptually, I don't see any reason why this idea can't succeed. The problem they're solving is pretty clear to me, it's pretty well established, and I believe their application of like cryptocurrencies, smart contracts, and blockchains to this particular thing is entirely appropriate. And I think that once the ecosystem is established, it puts INS in, well, an ideal position, quite frankly, to expand its features to include things like food purity certification. So there are other projects working on using blockchain technology to like guarantee the origin of food, to verify that organic food is actually organic and so on. And that's a great use of blockchain technology because it can track the origins and the particular food items all the way through. So if INS becomes like the dominant grocery platform in the world, it's then much easier for them to launch features that allow, say, food manufacturers to input food verification data into the blockchain and tie it to the food items, right? And that info can then be pulled straight out of the database and displayed to the consumer when they shop. It's just straight away end to end. The data gets entered by the food manufacturer and it gets displayed to the customer. So they can decide if they prefer Costa Rican blueberries or whatever it happens to be, right? Now, as a consumer, I personally want to use this INS shopping system to buy my next lot of groceries. So I hope they hurry up and build this thing. On that very subject, though, let's hop over here to the roadmap on the INS website. So the roadmap currently states that their intention is to launch in the fourth quarter of 2018. Oh, that's like a year away from now. And I want it sooner than that, of course. That's why I kind of riled a bit there. So that's that. We're expecting it in about a year's time, so they've got time to develop the thing. What about the chances of success from a practical point of view? In my opinion, manufacturers of the food items will want this to happen, right? If you've ever been on the inside of the grocery industry, you'll know how badly major retailers treat some manufacturers. Right? From what I've witnessed personally in my business career, I'd even go too far as to say that some retailers downright bully their suppliers in order to get fatter profit margins. But even if they weren't doing that, right, it wouldn't save the food retailers from the inevitable disintermediation, right, that is the destiny of all middlemen businesses. In fact, check this out. INS claim on their website in this section that 7 out of the top 20 global manufacturers of FMCG, which is fast-moving consumer goods, 7 out of the top 20 global brands are interested in joining the INS ecosystem. Okay, so, well, that sounds positive on the face of it, but quite frankly, an expression of interest is a long way from them officially signing up, which we won't be able to see if they'll put their money where their mouth is until the platform is actually built, right? But, you know, I'm sure you'll recognize some of these brands, right? What we got here? We've got some real global brands here. I'm sure everyone's heard of Durex, Dettol and Airwick, Gaviscon, you know, Scholl, Sillet Bang, all these kinds of Vanish, Veet. Yeah, these are all really well-established brands. And I can't imagine they would be allowed to claim in the involvement of these companies unless they did have something to back that up, because these global brands would come down on them like a ton of bricks if they were claiming endorsement when they hadn't actually done that. Another question I ask is like, how well can they execute this, right? I could also reasonably call this section like, do the founders have experience that is directly relevant to this project that they want to build, right? In this case, I would say most definitely yes, right? The two founders, Peter and Dmitry, they founded this company here. It's called Instamart. Now you might be able to guess what it does from the name, but this is a Moscow-based company that they started in 2013. And it offers basically to go to your local supermarket, get the products that you want, and then deliver them to your home or office within a matter of hours. Hence, Instamart, right? Now, the person who collects the products from the supermarket that works for Instamart, they're trained to kind of shop like you would shop. So they pinch the fruit to see how ripe it is and get the ripest ones. They check the expiry dates on the salad bags to make sure that they get the longest one. All the stuff that we would do if we were shopping, right? And if you're going to outsource that, you want to make sure that you're getting the same sort of service rather than someone just pulling them stuff off the shelf and sticking it in a bag and bringing it to you, right? So that's how come they can guarantee the freshness, because people are trained to get the freshest food from the supermarket. So I thought about this and I thought there is a possibility that this INS blockchain thing, it could end up somewhat disintermediating Instamart, which is their other business, or at least would require Instamart to say modify their business model slightly, right? Because of the disruption of INS. And just as an aside, this is where my mind went. INS kind of sounds like an abbreviation or a derivative of Instamart, doesn't it? That's completely irrelevant to our argument, but I thought that was an interesting aside. Are there any red flags? Well, one small one, in my opinion. Michael Terpin is on their advisory board, right? There he is in the advisory board section. They might ask, why is that a red flag? It's only a small one. And the only reason I put it in the red flag section is I've heard his name associated with certain projects that didn't turn out too well. I actually did a bit of investigation on this to see if I could find some specifics, right? But quite frankly, I wasn't actually able to turn up anything. So I'll just have to put those rumors down to, malicious rumors, unless any of you guys in the comments can provide some hard evidence to back up the rumors. On the positive side, though, they do have Mo Levin over here on the team, which gives them access to a large network of contacts in the crypto space, as well as having their event game locked down pretty tight. So Mo Levin he's the CEO of Keynote events, right? They've done tons of crypto events. I've been to some of them myself. Very well attended, very well organized, very well done. So, and because Mo is like the event organizer guy, he'll know everybody and anybody. If the project wants to get in touch with anybody, they can go through Mo, right? And get it that way. Also, speaking of Mo and events, further down here, where's the events section of the page here? Events, here we go. So there's a whole section that lists all these various events that they've been attending. So what you can see from this is that they've been putting the work in, attending all these different events to raise the profile of the projects. Now I say that's good to see because they're putting in a lot of face time, or they have been putting in a lot of face time. And that creates more accountability to the people they meet, because you know what they look like. They're not just some portrait photos on the internet on some webpage, right? They've actually met real people, shook real hands, made real bonds, and are now somewhat accountable to the people that they've met. Because if they ever run into them again and the project doesn't turn out very well, they're going to have to explain themselves, aren't they? Right? INS have also been featured in at least 20 different reviews by various YouTubers. Look at all these. All you have to do is type in INS ICO into YouTube, and it comes up with like 20 or more. Well, 21 if you include this one, right? So, in conclusion then, what do I think? And one of the key questions I always get asked is, am I putting any of my own money into this? So let's take that in two parts. Am I putting any of my own money into this? Yes, I am. I'm willing to risk 1.2% of my portfolio value on this one, which you'll notice is just slightly higher than my normal 1% that I put into an ICO. It's important for me to point out, though, I cannot, however, make any recommendation that you put money into this project, right? You can only get that kind of advice from a formally qualified financial advisor, whom I strongly recommend you consult first. I am not qualified to give financial advice, and you should not take anything I've said here as financial advice. On the topic of the ICO though, check this out. If you had some Ether in your wallet on the 1st of November, then you'll have received an airdrop of some INSP tokens. So check out this section of their website or click on the link in the video description and it'll take you there. So you can learn about what this means. The second part of this conclusion is like, what do I think overall, right? Well, I think it's food, right? Everyone buys it and everyone has to buy it. And because of that, everyone would like it to be more affordable and to get higher quality food products at the same time, right? Well, that's what the INS system promises in a nutshell. We all know that food prices have steadily increased over time. And because you have to buy it, that automatically squeezes the monthly budget, doesn't it? You know, there's this thing that I read about called the 40% rule, which states that when the cost of food consumes more than 40% of the average income, the chances of civil unrest and rioting increase dramatically. And this has been borne out historically. I even dug out a couple of articles on this. One of them was from the site Nourishing the Planet, Rising Food Prices and Social Unrest. And then the other one was from this site, Peak Prosperity. So I'll put the links to those in the video description so you can see what I'm talking about here. So beyond all the personal benefits of a system like this and all the benefits that it will bring, the average citizen in a Western country will get all of those benefits. But this project, if it goes some way to staving off more serious problems that are caused by rising food prices, well, to me, that's as good a reason as any to support the project. Alright guys, thanks very much for joining me today. If you liked this episode, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're new around here, get subscribed. I'd also like to thank INS for sponsoring this video so that the Cryptoverse can continue to bring you all the wonderful information on Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and blockchains. Well, that's all for today, guys. I'll be back tomorrow with another episode of the Cryptoverse. So until then, it's me, Chris Coney, saying bye for now.